So Venusaur in Pokemon Sword and Shield has really good overall stats. Like, all of its stats are over 80, with its health and speed being 80, its attack being 82, and its defense being 83, with its special defense being 100. Like, that's pretty good tankiness with an 80, 83, and 100. With the 100 special attack and 80 speed, so you outspeed something. Like, you're not super slow, but you have some bulk to you. Plus 82 attack means you could use some physical attacks and go from there. Its abilities are Overgrowth and Chlorophyll, which, because it has 80 speed, Chlorophyll is actually really good because it doubles your speed. So even with no investment or very little investment, you outspeed a lot of things, especially if they don't have a Scarf or anything like that. Overgrowth is the starter ability. It's not the greatest, but there are ways to use it. It increases your grass types by 1.5. So, like, there are things you can do with it, but it's not the greatest. And Venusaur's typing is Grass Poison, which is pretty good overall. You're weak to Flying, Fire, Psychic, and Ice, and you resist Fighting, Water, Grass, Electric, and Fairy. So, especially for being Grass, Poison's really good, because Grass types alone have a ton of weaknesses, so Poison kind of cancels those out a little bit. And especially, like, Ground or Grass cancels out some of Poison's weaknesses, so it's pretty good overall as a typing. But one way to use Venusaur is just put it under Sunlight and just go max special attack, max speed. You outspeed everything, you do a good amount of damage. I like the Citrus Berry for the healing. You could also run something like a Life Orb if you just want more damage. Just depends. I like the Citrus Berry for the sustain, but pretty much Solar Beam, Weather Ball, Earth Power, and Sludge Bomb. Solar Beam hits in one turn and it's good stab. Weather Ball is now a fire type move, which is extra coverage, and it has 100 base power, which is really good. Sludge Bomb is stab, 100 is stab. It has stab with 90 base power. I don't think Venusaur learns Sludge Wave, which could be a thing. And then I like Earth Power in that last slot just for that ground coverage for like steel. Well, you have steel, you can cover steel with fire, but I just like the ground. I like Earth Power, which is the ground coverage. Plus 90 base power is pretty good. But you could also not put as much. You could put a little bit of investment into it, something like that, and just go max health for the bulkiness, because at 400 base speed, it's pretty fast. You outspeed pretty much everything that isn't either agility, dragon dance, something that isn't setting up, you pretty much outspeed, or scarf that's already really fast. But if you just want that guaranteed outspeed, like, this will make you survive some more hits and be a little bulkier, especially with, like, if you run the Citrus Berry. But if you just want to go full damage and speed, I would just max it out, because doubling that, you pretty much outspeed everything. But another way to run Venusaur is just run a tank Venusaur and just take advantage of the fact that Toxic can't miss on poison types. And Leftovers / actually Black Sludge would be really good here. I would say you run Black Sludge just so you can run Leftovers and something else. But since you're a poison type, Black Sludge is really good. But Toxic, Black Sludge, Sustain. Synthesis gives you some health back. You have to be careful though, because Synthesis doesn't have the most PP. Venoshock does double damage on poison targets, so this will do 130. If you poison them and hit them with a Venoshock, it does 130. And then Energy Ball, or you could run something like an Earth Power in this slot for Steel types, because they become a problem. But then you run into the issue of something like Corviknight. So if I was going to say, if you're running this Venusaur, I would just stay away from Corviknight and Skarmory, for example, because they're just hard counters to this. But pretty much max health, max defense. I like the Calm Nature just to give your special defense some boost, so you're overall really tanky. And just go from there. And just try to take as many hits as possible. Toxic everything down in Venoshock, because they'll probably survive. They can survive like 1 or 2 Venoshocks, but then the Toxic plus the Venoshock damage will take them out. And you're really bulky, so you'll take some hits. But another kind of talky, again, you can run Black Sludge. I would always say with a poison type, always run Black Sludge over Leftovers. So you can run Leftovers on something else. And also with these two, also really with any of, well, these two, I would run you could run Overgrow or Chlorophyll. It just depends. Do you want that extra damage when your health is low, or in case they bring a sunny day, do you want the double speed? So it's up to you. But another kind of bulky Venusaur is just Leech Life, pretty much Leech Seed and Synthesis. Protect. Pretty much Leech Life and protect them down. You hit them with the Leech Life and then you protect, so you're draining their health every turn. Every 2 turns, well, pretty much you're getting a free 1/4 of their health because you're protecting, and they can't hurt you depending on if they have even or odd hit points. But pretty much Leech Life, protect, and then either damage or Synthesis, protect, because you're healing from Leech Life too. So it is just gonna add up every turn to just slowly whittle them down, and the Energy Ball is just extra damage. Again, you can run something. You could also run like a Sludge Bomb here too, but you have to be careful of Sludge Bombs. The biggest problem with this set is just the fact that if they switch in a grass type, you can't do anything because Leech Life doesn't affect grass types, if I remember correctly. It doesn't affect grass types, so you could run the Sledge Bomb, but at the same time, Sledge Bomb won't do any damage. I want to double check if this actually, if Leech Life hits grass types, because I don't think it does. Leech Life will not work against grass Pokemon, and attempt to seed a Pokemon will not fail. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, it doesn't affect grass types. So like this one, you run the risk of them switching into a grass type, and then you can only Energy Ball them, which they'll resist. So you can run a Sludge Bomb to counter that, but you just have to be careful of Steel types, because then you literally can just Leech Life Protect, and that's all you can do. But you can play around that a little bit. It's a really tanky Venusaur. This is just a tanky Venusaur with max health, max special attack. And if you get the speed, it's good. If not, whatever, you're not banking on the speed. But just 3 offensive moves, dual stab and energy ball, Sledge Bomb, and then Earth Power for that other coverage move. Synthesis to heal, and you just want to knock everything down slowly but surely. And just whittle everything down with the Venusaur. So Venusaur also has a Gigantamax form, which is now available in the Isle of Armor. And pretty much what it does when you use the grass move, it does damage, and for 4 turns deals damage to each non-grass type opponent equal. It does a 6 of their health every turn, which is really good in doubles. So like, honestly, if you're running a G-Max Venusaur, I would run something like this, especially in the sunlight. If you get the sunlight with this, it makes it even better. But pretty much what you want to do is Solar Beam. Solar Beam brings the grassy terrain. Earth Power raises your special defense. Sledge Bomb actually raises your special type, which is really good. And the thing about Weather Ball, when Dynamaxed 1, it has 130 base power, and it actually still is affected by the weather. So if you have the sunny day up, it'll still be a fire type move. So it's really good in that way. Plus 130 base power is really good, Dynamaxed. So you can kind of play around that with the coverage and use Venusaur like that, which is really good. But some of the other moves Venusaur learns are Grass Pledge, Terrain Pulse. Like the pledge moves together are really good, especially I think it's Fire and Grass that bring the Swamp, which is really good. Terrain Pulse is also really good, 100 base power, and especially if you have it on other terrains like Electric, Psychic, or Fairy, you can really make use of that and have a good extra coverage move. It has Curse if you want to run a physical tanky Venusaur with like Curse, Synthesis, and something like that. Sleep Powder is also really good, but 75 accuracy can screw you over. It has Sleep Powder, Stun Powder, and the other one, so it's really good in that way. But some of the other moves Venusaur learns though are, let's see, Petal Blizzard is always an option, but I think Petal Blizzard actually gets you, Petal Blizzard I think hits all opponents, and yeah, so it's an option. You could also run a physical Venusaur too, but it's just less damage. Actually, does Venusaur learn Swords Dance? Venusaur does not. Oh, Venusaur has learned Swords Dance, so you could do something like Chlorophyll Swords Dance Venusaur, just max health Adamant Swords Dance with the Chlorophyll. Do something like that and run 4 physical moves, because Venusaur actually has really good physical coverage too. Like if you look at some of the moves he learns physically, let's see, like Petal Blizzard for example, Seed Bomb, Double Edge. It learns like Earthquake, Body Slam. It learns Outrage too, which is really good. Power Whip too if you want that high damage, low accuracy. Something like Bulldoze and doubles. Bullet Seed if you want to take that risk. Again, Curse to raise your defense too. Natural Power is also an option on the special one if you just want to have that move. Like if you're playing in the game, Nature Power is good, but like in Battle Spot and stuff like that, you'll always get I think Tri Power, so it's not really that good. Petal Dance locks you in, but it has 120 base power, so you can get there. Skull Bash, raise your defense. So you can do power. It raises your defense and then it's 130 base power, but I wouldn't do that into a Power Herb, for example. It's not really worth it. Again, Frenzy Plant, the starter grass move, Grass Pledge, Grassy Glide. It learned that too, which is especially good on grassy terrain with like a Swords Dance or something if you already get it set up. But some of the other moves like Endure, Amnesia, good to raise your special defense. Workup raises both its attack stats, and does it learn? No, there's another move. It's not Workup. Growth. It doesn't learn Growth, which kind of sucks because in the Sunlight, Growth raises both. Actually, does it learn Growth? It does learn Growth. In Sunlight, Growth raises both of your stats by 2, which is really good. In Harsh Sunlight. Well, that's still really good though if you can get that. Again, it learns all the powder moves, Synthesis, Worry Seed, if you're running against like a Rest set or something like that. Hyper Beam, that's always an option. Same with Giga Impact if you just want that high damage move. Sludge Bomb, Earth Leaf Storm, but it releases your special defense. So if you run a physical Venusaur or just a really tanky one with physical moves, Leaf Storm could be good. Light Screen, it learns Safeguard too. Charm lowers their special it lowers their attack by 2 stages, which is really good. Helping Hand and doubles. Like Venusaur has like is very diverse in what it could do. Like, and you don't know what to expect when you say Venusaur. And Grain is an option, but it kind of screws you over sometimes. But like Venusaur is actually really good. I didn't realize this. Venusaur has a lot of things it can do. Like, especially growth and like chlorophyll too is actually really good if you run like a, because it's a free, actually that's actually really good. Growth instead of probably earth power, to be honest with you. Growth, and just come in and come in with a growth on the sun and just try to KO everything, especially if the Pokemon that comes in before has a Heat Rock Sunny Day. Just growth and try to take everything out with these two. That's actually really good, but that's how to use Venusaur in Pokemon Sword and Shield.